Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Great English Podcast. I'm Catherine, and joining me today is Mark. In this episode, we'll be diving into a fascinating topic that can significantly boost your English skills: reading English literature.
Hi, everyone. Listening to discussions about literature is a powerful way to improve your English language skills. It enhances your vocabulary, comprehension, and cultural awareness. Today, we're exploring the importance of reading English literature for language improvement.
That's right, Mark. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. So, Mark, how's your reading journey going these days?
It's going well, Catherine. I've been trying to read more consistently, but honestly, I wish I could immerse myself in English literature more often. If only I had more opportunities to explore the classics and modern masterpieces.
You're absolutely right, Mark. I feel the same way. Incorporating more reading into our daily routines can drastically improve our language skills. But it's not always easy to find the time or motivation.
Exactly. So, Catherine, what do you think we can do to encourage more people to read?
Well, there are several ways to tackle this issue. One major challenge is that many people find it hard to start and stay committed to reading.
You're right. I've heard so many stories about people who buy books with good intentions but never actually read them.
Absolutely. The first step to improving this situation is to develop a reading habit. If people dedicate just 15 minutes a day to reading, they can gradually work their way through even the longest novels. It's all about consistency.
That makes a lot of sense. But what's the second solution you mentioned earlier?
Let's call it the community reading approach. Imagine if we formed book clubs or reading groups. For example, people could meet once a week to discuss a book they're all reading. It creates a sense of accountability and community, making reading a more social and enjoyable activity.
That's an interesting idea. Do you think it will really work?
I'm confident it will. Consistent exposure to literature helps readers become more comfortable with the language. Plus, it encourages them to explore different genres and styles, broadening their understanding and appreciation of literature.
That's impressive. Now tell me, how were your reading habits in school? Did you enjoy reading English literature?
Definitely. My teachers were excellent at introducing us to a wide range of literature, but I was too shy to discuss my thoughts in class. Sometimes, a teacher would ask me about a book, but I'd get so nervous. It's funny, because I used to dread reading back then. I remember one time, I had to present a summary of Pride and Prejudice, and I was so anxious that I could barely speak.
Seriously? I can't believe it. Look at you now, you are so passionate about literature.
Thank you, Mark. It took a lot of practice, and I'm still learning every day. What about you? Why did you initially dislike reading?
Well, one day my father and I were at a bookstore, and we bumped into one of my teachers, a friend of my father's. He recommended a book in English, and I couldn't understand a word of it. I felt so embarrassed in front of my father. That incident made me dislike reading English books, but later I realized I was wrong.
What an interesting story. So, what did you do afterward to change your perspective?
I decided to change my approach. I started to appreciate English literature by picking up books that genuinely interested me. I began with simpler texts and gradually moved to more complex ones. I also learned new words and practiced reading aloud to improve my pronunciation. Reading new books is like embarking on new adventures. Just as you need the right mindset to enjoy a journey, you also need a love for words to appreciate literature fully.
But it doesn't stop there. Knowing the words is one thing. Understanding their context and the author's intent is equally important.
Exactly, Catherine. It's not just about knowing the words, it's about grasping the themes and messages the authors are trying to convey. I remember when I read To Kill a Mockingbird. Initially, I focused on understanding the vocabulary, but soon I realized the deeper themes of racial injustice and moral growth, which enriched my understanding and appreciation of the book.
That's a great example, Mark. I vividly recall my high school days when our teachers would assign us reading lists from various genres. However, we rarely had in-depth discussions about those books, which made it challenging to fully appreciate them.
You're right. We never really practiced interpreting those books in context. It's no wonder many of us didn't fully grasp their significance. The key is to engage with literature actively, not just read it passively. Discussing the themes, characters, and plots with others can greatly enhance understanding.
Exactly. It's frustrating how often the focus is solely on exam scores rather than practical understanding. Even though we've been reading English literature since our school days, many of us still struggle to appreciate its depth. One strategy one found helpful was to write summaries and reflections on each chapter, which helped me internalize and connect with the material.
Yes, it's funny but painfully true. We're all in the same boat, trying to navigate the vast sea of English literature. I also found that reading a variety of genres, from science fiction to historical fiction, broadened my perspective and kept me engaged.
Let me share an incident. One day, a teacher asked someone to discuss a book in front of the entire class. Nobody volunteered, but eventually, one brave girl stepped forward and impressed the teacher. The catch? She had memorized her lines beforehand.
Memorization isn't the best approach. It's much better to engage with the text spontaneously and share genuine thoughts. In university, I joined a literature club where we read and discussed a wide range of books. The spontaneous discussions we had were incredibly enriching and helped me see the books in a new light.
Exactly. Students often treat literature like it's rocket science, fearing every word they read. But really, it's about practice and confidence. When I started viewing literature as a conversation between the author and myself, it became much more enjoyable.
So true, Catherine. We need to break free from that fear and embrace the richness of English literature. Let's keep reading and discussing. I remember struggling with Shakespeare initially, but by watching performances and discussing the plays with friends, I began to appreciate the beauty and complexity of his works.
If you've listened to this podcast till now, it means you're truly committed to improving your English. And the good news is that your efforts are paying off as you make progress towards your goal. Keep up the great work.
Our aim is to help you enhance your English skills. To achieve this goal, we recommend reading the books and authors we discussed today and engaging with the texts actively. Try joining a book club or starting a reading group with friends.
We kindly request that you not skip any episodes, as each one is crucial to learning new perspectives regularly. Consistent engagement with literature is essential for improving your vocabulary and overall language proficiency.
Let's work together to improve your English. Reading literature not only helps with language skills, but also broadens your mind and understanding of different cultures and perspectives.
Our sentence of the day is, we need to break free from that fear and embrace the richness of English literature. In simple terms, when we say embrace, we mean to welcome, accept, and adopt something willingly.
So, the phrase suggests overcoming any fear related to literature and being open to accepting and enjoying it with a positive and welcoming attitude. It's much better to engage with the text spontaneously.
Spontaneously means doing something in a natural and unplanned way, without much thought or preparation. It happens on the spur of the moment, without deliberate intention or premeditation. So, if you engage with literature spontaneously, you're doing it impulsively and with genuine interest.
If you found the podcast helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We also encourage you to leave comments about your favorite books or any challenges you face in reading English literature.
Thanks for joining us today on the Great English Podcast. Keep reading, keep learning, and see you in the next episode. Don't forget to explore new genres and share your thoughts with your community.
Until next time, happy reading.
Take care, everyone.